Hello and welcome to a different kind of episode for Fallacious Trump, not what we usually do, and this is the first of a few of these kinds of episodes. We're still talking about fallacies, still giving examples, but it's not the same kind of Fallacious Trump episode, not the same format, so that's why these are designated as kind of bonus episodes rather than standard episodes. What we do in these ones is talk about fallacies that we have previously talked about and give examples that we have come across since we first talked about them. It's something that basically we've kind of done a few full episodes on fallacies we already talked about, but we only do that every now and again, and a lot of the fallacies that we've talked about in the past, we're going to absolutely run out of time to do that with. We're never going to get to those. So these are some of those that we've kind of smushed together and done, I think, kind of 5 or 6 fallacies in an episode and given new examples. The reason we're doing this is because Mark's work situation has become very intense at the moment. He's got a lot of time that he needs to put into that, and he doesn't have the time that we would normally put into an episode of Fallacious Trump. And so he's kind of had to step away just for a little bit of time for that. Last time he had to step away due to work, which was, I think, like 2020, I kept the podcast going with regular episodes just on my own for a couple of months. And I didn't really, if I'm honest, think those episodes were as good as our normal episodes. I don't think they were as fun to listen to. I don't think, well, they certainly weren't as fun for me to record. So we decided not to do that this time. And instead what we're doing essentially is we're calling this the end of season 1 of Fallacious Trump. So the last 189 episodes of season 1, when we come back, when Mark's work situation settles down, that'll be season 2. But in the meantime, rather than leave you with nothing, we've got these episodes which we recorded them previously for our patrons, but I think they're really good episodes. I think they're fun and useful, hopefully, and as interesting if fallacies and examples of fallacies is the kind of thing you're into. So then they're not topical. We're not going to be talking about what's going on, which frankly might be a plus for the shit that's going on at the moment. I feel like stepping away at least a little bit might be a plus for me. But hey, we're not going to be talking about everything that's going on. When we come back, we'll talk about all of that stuff. But these don't have kind of news sections and deep dives and things. They're just about the fallacies. So hopefully you'll enjoy these episodes. As I say, we will be back with season 2 soon. In the meantime, here is the first episode of Old Fallacies, New Examples.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Hillary Clinton wants to abolish it, believe me. She wants to abolish our Second Amendment.
I think they didn't deny it. I don't think anybody denied it.
Other presidents did not call. They'd write letters, and some presidents didn't do anything.
Many people have come out and said I'm right.
You really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
Hello and welcome to something that we've not done before.
Yeah.
This is a thing that I've kind of had a document building up to this for a while, because basically when we do a fallacy, we talk about it, we find examples, and then I tend to see other examples in the wild and think, that would have been good to know when we did the episode. But either it's happened since we did the episode, or it's just something I came across since.
I think Kate Bush sang about that phenomenon in Strange Phenomena. That thing.
And so I kind of kept a note mostly. There's lots of ones that I came across and never wrote down. Right. But some of them I wrote down and I made a note of where they were. And I thought, well, if we ever get back to that fallacy,
we can trudge them up and do that.
We've got an example.
Yeah. And we have.
The thing is,
we have of late been doing kind of, we've been looking at fallacies that currently exist, and then ones every now and then, every 11th episode, we identify a new one.
Every 11th episode we identify a new one, and currently it's every kind of 5 or 6 episods we'll go back and
go back and have a look.
One that we did.
And on that
we are
calculation,
one old fallacy for every 5 or 6 new fallacies means that there's lots that we're never going to get to.
Yeah, and they're kind of
podcast,
and that would be 3 months apart. We'd be doing this for the next 37 years, and whilst we're sure that your dedicated patronage will continue for the rest of your life, it's a bit of a commitment. So we thought what we'd do is catch up on some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, because there's some that basically it's gonna like we've started at the end of Trump's third term with like if we get to that and we're still doing episodes.
Yeah.
2037 or something like that.
If we're
basically
still,
we're not expecting to still be podcasting by that point.
No, because speech, any speech, free or otherwise, will be banned.
Yeah,
and you listeners in the US won't be able to listen to anything because listening to things will be banned.
Absolutely.
And any word searches will get instantly translated into "We love Donald Trump."
Yeah.
You know.
The entire planet will be called Trump by then.
Trump world. Yeah, it will be. Yes, and there won't be going into the United States of Trump.
Use those examples up now because we're never getting to that. And
what this also does is
you probably might want to hear.
Yeah, and it also empties our brain of these current ones and allows us to fill them up with extra ones. Just when we thought identifying them would actually, kill them dead. No, it doesn't. And they keep popping up.
As I continue to consume media, this could become a recurring thing, depending on how quickly the bucket of examples fills back up.
Yeah,
because we have more and more, we're getting more and more fallacies to find examples for.
Yeah,
as we do each week, and
then
there'll be new examples coming out. So this might happen again.
It's made me think of that. Remember, at one point there was, I don't know which show it was, but they were putting a bubblegum ball into a jar every time Trump said a lie, and by the end of his first term they had racks and racks and racks of jars filled with bubblegum. It just reminds me of that.
But it sounds they would have had a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder what they did with those.
You wouldn't be able to afford that. The bubblegum.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even when it was a penny a ball, it was like that would be.
Exactly. That's the extension of it. If I had a nickel for every lie that Donald Trump said, I'd be a rich man, which is what Fred Trump actually used to say. Yeah.
So
how far back are we going?
We're starting with episode 43.
Yeah.
The Nirvana fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have been towards the end of our second year of podcasting. Back in 2020. And the Nirvana fallacy, we're going to kind of give a quick recap of what they are. It's when someone dismisses an argument or an option because it is flawed in some way. Basically, the only thing they'll accept is something which perfectly solves the problem. With the claim that if it doesn't solve the problem, there's just no point doing it. It's not worth it.
Right. Yeah.
So that obviously cuts out a lot of things that might help a situation. But they dismiss it because it wouldn't completely take
wouldn't
the problem
give you
away.
the ideal completely solve everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so our example is a Trump one. A lot of these are going to be fallacies in the wild, but this is a Trump one, and it's a tweet, a pair of tweets actually from May of 2017. So these were before we did this episode, just didn't know about them at the time.
Right.
He said, "As a very active president with lots of things happening, it is not possible for my surrogates to stand at podium with perfect accuracy. Maybe the best thing to do would be to cancel all future press briefings and hand out written responses for the sake of accuracy."
Quite a bold statement, and also quite prescient, because latterly the transcripts of the very thing that he's saying would be the best thing to do, that's obviously going to come up with it. It's all been taken away. He's going to come up with another reason, because that wasn't the best possible answer after all.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding Caroline Levitt,
is that because you can't, because it's not possible to get a surrogate, either a communications advisor or a press person or people who are prepared to speak on his behalf, who will get everything right all of the time. And that's because of how active his presidency is, because he's moving fast and breaking things. Because of that, there's just really no point in having someone talking to the press, and what they should do is just hand out written press releases, which obviously will always be 100% perfect.
Of course.
With no mistakes or lies in at all.
No. And it wouldn't just be, words from the great leader. Yeah. Is this contemporary with Kofifi and all of those times?
I think Kofifi was a little bit before this, but not very long.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of a false dichotomy here as well, because he's suggesting, as there is, I think, always with a nirvana fallacy, because you're suggesting that the only two ways are the perfect way, or the way that you've come up with as the only real alternative.
Right.
Because he's suggesting that either you have a person doing perfect press briefings that are always correct, or you have to come up with some other system that isn't someone talking to the press. Yes. What you could do is properly brief a competent person.
That's another option. Yes.
Yeah.
Just
and have them only
someone.
Talk to the press when they know what they're talking about.
Well, they're talking about rather than just employ belligerent blonde MAGA people.
Yeah, that's the option he's always picked.
Yes.
Is belligerent blonde women who don't know what they're talking about but are prepared to lie on the spot.
Yes. And then commit all sorts of other fallacies, which we'll come into later. If the question doesn't go their way, they will just, flip it on the head and call up all sorts of other reasons for not answering it, rather than just say, why not just brief the press person? It seems to be a lot of effort being put in to. I mean, if you're going to have a press officer that talks to the press about what you're doing, wouldn't it make sense to just brief them on everything and come up with answers that they're likely to ask? Yeah,
in a competent administration. That would be what you'd expect to happen, and you see it when, they're not perfect, and that's even well briefed, competent people, like Jen Psaki for Biden. She wasn't able to answer every question, and usually when she wasn't able to answer a question, she would say, "I will circle back and."
Yes,
I will
go and look that up
later.
Yeah,
and
rather
to the
than
extent
take it
that
as
that annoyed right wingers that she kept saying, "I'll circle back."
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't just give them whatever pat bullshit answer she came up with on the fly.
Yeah.
She actually wanted to give them a real
answer. I'll go and look that up.
Hadn't
thought about that. Yes, exactly. But whereas, that is an admission of weakness if you haven't got the answers there and then, or if you admit to not having the answers rather than belligerently shout at the press representative that's asking you a question that you don't have an answer for, so you just dismiss it as, well, that's a nasty question.
Yeah.
Why don't you just which just makes you look stupid rather than weak.
It also helps if you are running the country in a way in which when people ask you questions, you can answer honestly, and it doesn't make you look incredibly bad.
Yeah.
Because you run the country in a way where the
Yes.
press are legitimately going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
And you don't have an answer for that because what you're doing is awful or probably unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Then, that
That's
requires
why
a
you
lot
need
more
to-
out of a press person.
Yes.
They need to be able to have that big binder that I can't even remember one of the blonde ladies' names
That's
now.
right.
She had.
Would leaf through.
She had kind of pat answers for things that weren't relevant. They, they didn't refresh the binder. It was just like, when immigration comes up, talk about how bad the last administration was on immigration, and it was just talking points that she had that didn't answer questions that people asked. Because if you answered the questions people asked, you were basically saying, "Oh yeah, he is terrible at his job, isn't he?"
You would reveal the man behind the curtain exactly. Yeah, and that's and as with all true dictatorships, or with the Ministry of Truth is constructed to talk to the people, to lie about stuff, and it's not even convincing. And what the current wave is to do away with. That's another perfect way of solving it, is not to cancel the press briefings, but just invite people that are going to agree with everything that you say and continue to perpetuate the lie. Yeah.
And the current woman, Jesus Christ, they all blur into one. I can't. What's her name? Caroline Leavitt. One thing that I see her doing again and again is calling on people who are sycophants, who are kind of social media journalists, right wingers, who will ask a question that is just a so obsequious and includes in the question something about what demons the Democrats are or what genius the president is. And her first section of her answer will be, well, first of all, I agree completely with the concept of your question. And we don't often have things like that asked in the press room, but I'm glad that you asked it. And now let me give you my talking point that I've been kind of, that is the reason I queued you up to ask this question.
Yeah. And they're all kind of like, what's the president's favourite number? And those kind of, really searching questions that used to feature in Smash Hits magazine when they were asking pop stars. Yeah. What's his birth sign? Yeah. Bring back Sean Spicer, I say. I miss him. Yeah. Speaking of which.
Our next one is the wrong tool, which was our
description of Sean Spicer.
Fallacy, number 44, and it was our first one that we made up, one that we identified, that was a new fallacy you won't find on the standard lists, although I haven't checked the lists recently to see if any
whether
of
they
our
include
identified ones have been added.
Yes.
At some point they have to be, because this is like part of the public record of fallacies, so
yes,
anyone who's
as we
compiling
were
lists these days.
And as when we were interviewed, we got described as the world's leading authority on.
Absolutely.
So, we're currently writing the rule book.
Yeah. It's just as legitimate as anything that
Aristotle came up with. Yeah, he just invented them. Yeah. The fact that he did it in Greek adds a certain amount of cachet.
I took Greek up to GCSE, so
Did you?
I could do it in Greek. Bits of it.
Wow. What's the Greek equivalent of cachet? I kind of went from Greek to French then.
I think that's a very specifically French word. I don't think it's a Greek equivalent. They didn't have that in Greece.
There was no cachet to be had. Yeah. No. or a shrug. Nobody used to shrug.
No.
Yeah.
So they didn't have ennui either.
No, none of that.
They would just sit around discussing life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the wrong tool fallacy is when someone tries to present evidence for an argument using something that wouldn't normally be measured or isn't suitable to measure that thing that they're claiming that it shows.
Right.
So one of the examples we used when we talked about this first time was Jared Kushner's 108-page Middle East peace plan. He was had more pages than any previous Middle East peace plan,
and a map,
maps
and some pictures.
It's that's not how you tell whether a peace plan is good.
Yeah.
So our first example, our example really, the other clip that we have for this is more of a rebuttal.
Right.
Our example is from Carrie Lake, and it's representative of what a lot of people on the right have done from time to time, exclusively when Biden or previously Obama were in office.
We are the #1 state for bringing in fentanyl, which is killing a generation of people. 27,000 pounds of fentanyl was confiscated and seized in the last fiscal year. Almost half of that was seized in Arizona. I'm not okay with that, and neither are the people of my great state. We got to bring this to an end. Joe Biden is not fit to do it. He's the reason we have an open border, and that's why we have to make a big change November 5th when we vote for President Trump and when we vote for me to come into the Senate and help make sure that we get that America First agenda passed.
See, I wouldn't want to stop what's going on, because if they've seized 27,000 pounds of the stuff, then that's not got through.
That's not out there.
I wouldn't want to stop that.
So using how much fentanyl has been seized, or drugs in general have been seized at the border, and she's talking specifically about the southern Arizona border here.
Yeah.
As a proxy for how many drugs are being let through the border.
Yeah.
Is the wrong way of measuring that.
Yes.
In the broadest possible terms of figuring out how much is likely coming over or trying to be brought over the border. When you, for example, compare the Mexico border to the Canada border, because Trump has repeatedly over the last couple of years been talking about how much is coming over from Canada as well, and why you need to have strong borders with the North as well, and referencing fentanyl. And almost none is, by any method of evidence, seized or thought to be coming over from the border with Canada. Compared to the amount that comes over from Mexico, it's less than 1% of all of the drugs in America basically have come across the northern border. So
So there's two lots
kind
of
of
wrong
in
tools.
those very, very broad terms of looking at like when there's almost nothing compared to lots, that is likely an indication of how much is generally coming over the border from those two places. But when you're saying if we look exclusively at the Mexico border and lots of drugs are being seized, therefore lots of drugs are also getting through.
Yeah. Doesn't say much for the seizure
measurement
policy.
Yeah, because if you had a completely impermeable border with perfect border control, a huge amount of drugs would be seized.
Yes.
And nothing would be getting through.
Yes.
And if you had a fully open border, then no drugs would be seized, but lots would be getting through. So those two, they aren't linearly compatible. They don't grow with each other. It's a measure of how good you are at stopping them.
Yeah, because actually, if they got really good at it, such that the border was impermeable, then it would, by this measurement, indicate that they were really bad at it. Because if they were getting 99.9% of all of the, or even 100%, if they were getting 100%, so they were getting 28,000 pounds of fentanyl coming through. Yes. So that's the wrong tool, but also the measurement of borders, using border as a tool in order to say, right, and we've got a border north of America as well, so we ought to have a strong border there. That's also the wrong tool, isn't it? Because you don't just measure.
Arguably, sure.
You don't measure the porosity of a border by the fact that it's a border. So if we've got one, there's another border up there that's also got a fentanyl leaking problem.
Yes,
because this one has.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, this only happens from the right when there is a Democrat president. This measure of using the amount of drugs seized to say how many drugs are getting through. Because when Trump is in, for example, he says things like this.
In less than 2 months since I took office, the DEA and FBI have seized nearly 1 million deadly doses of fentanyl, and that's just the beginning.
So 1 million doses of fentanyl in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's incredible compared to the amount. I mean, Carrie Lake was talking about it in pounds, and fentanyl tablets are very, very small, so it is difficult to make a direct comparison. But 1 million doses in 2 months, imagine how much is getting through if that's how much is being seized at the border.
Exactly. Yeah, but no, they say because that's almost like the what isn't there an emphasis fallacy where we talk about the emphasis on but where they're kind of he's emphasising the seizure bit, and she was emphasising the unspoken bit. If this is what we're seizing, then what must be getting through?
But the same people will use it in both ways. They will talk about look at how much has been seized at the southern border. Therefore, the border is porous. And then when Trump is in, look how great the border patrol are doing at stopping the drugs.
And look how quickly I did it. Well, it's exactly the same border. It's
There's not really that much difference.
The same amount. Yeah.
Basically, what happens is the what they are they talk in actually kind of both ways about how much they've seized as a good thing. Yeah. And also they'll talk about like how many interactions with people trying to get across the border there are, and say that's dropped significantly since the Biden presidency, which could be because, well, realistically, a part of that is going to be because he's made America a terrible place to be. Therefore, less people are seeing it as a aspirational place. Less people want to make it to America. Yeah, you know, very, very. One of the first episodes of The West Wing is of people getting across from Cuba on a raft, and Bartlett is not kind of condemning them for wanting to do that. He's being amazed at their determination that, you know, that they had to do this incredibly difficult thing because they wanted a better life and they wanted it here. And that's, I think, a good way of looking at immigration. It's good that people want to be here because we have a country that people want to live in and that gives people opportunities. And if you think America is great and it's the land of opportunity and the home of the free and the land of the brave or whatever, it's you should think, yeah, of course people want to be here.
Come here.
And we
Yes.
should give them that opportunity.
Yes,
But,
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so part of the fact that interactions at the border have dropped is probably partly because it is not an attractive place to be now. There are very many ways
Right.
in which it is a bad place to be.
Yeah.
Especially if you are not a rich white man.
Who's been here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, you could totally see it as the Border Patrol doing a worse job under Trump than they were under Biden, because they are stopping less people.
Yeah.
They're interacting with less people at the border. They are coming across and therefore getting rid of less people. So, yeah, you can. The point is, it's not a reliable and good tool to measure the thing that they're using it to measure.
Exactly.
In both ways, because Trump's claim of how much has been seized isn't a reliable method of showing what a great job the Border Patrol are doing, because maybe, people currently under Trump's administration, Americans, require a lot more drugs than they did under Biden.
Yes. Yeah.
So they are trying to buy a lot more from Mexico because that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That could be another reason for it.
There you go.
It's not a one-to-one relationship.
So I've just been looking up the number of doses against pounds. So we had 27,000 pounds being seized, and now we've had a million doses
in 2
seized.
months.
Well, a dosage of fentanyl is 1 microgram, because
that's very small.
It's very
But
small.
presumably it's not like a tablet, because you take it.
Yeah.
I'm not very well versed in this, but
Well, I think it's a tablet.
it's
yeah,
a tablet, right?
But it's
And
got
gonna
hardly
be in other
anything
stuff.
because
It's going to be
exactly.
A tablet's going to weigh more than a microgram.
Yeah. But the
So,
dose.
so when
yeah.
they're talking about 27,000 pounds, they're talking about the tablets. That's going to have other stuff in it.
Yeah.
Chalk and whatever you put in tablets to carry the active ingredient.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hard to say.
Yeah.
So, our next fallacy is hedging.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This was episode 46.
That
And-
feels so recent. That
Yeah, I
we
know.
did that one.
Yeah, I did experience that so many times going through this and going, well, really, did we do that? Was that like
Was that long
2021
ago?
we did that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the hedging fallacy is when someone basically changes their story, not in a moving the goalposts way, where they try to come up with a different answer based on or different criteria to be judged by based on a rebuttal.
Yeah.
But they claim that their evidence was always what it now needs to be to fit the new criteria.
Yeah. We've always
So they
been
just
at war
changed
with
their original story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they act like nothing has changed, and that was always what they thought.
Right.
So this example is a song by Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
It's called Jenny, and the concept of the song is that a woman sees a guy in a park and starts talking to him. He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you," and it is clear from her perspective that they actually already met. They know each other quite well, and he's trying to cover the fact that he completely doesn't recognise her.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of hedging in the song, so this is just a clip.
Nice to meet you, Jenny.
We've met before, quite a few times actually.
Oh, yes, of course we have. I meant it was nice to meet you the time that I met you. Where was it that we met that time that I met you when I met you?
At a party.
That's right. Wasn't it one of those boring work parties?
No.
That's why I said, wasn't it? It was the party of a mutual friend. Was it? Wasn't it? Was it? Wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I thought so.
So yeah, he basically kind of tries to get information out of her, and then every time she gives him the information, he's like, "Yeah, that's what I said," and
That's
what I
why I
knew
said
that.
it wasn't. Yeah.
That's why I said, wasn't it? It's a great line.
Brilliant. Very good. Very good.
Yeah. So next is alleged certainty. This was episode 50.
Yeah.
And it is the claim that everyone knows that it's true, this thing that you're claiming, therefore you don't need to provide any evidence because it's just, everyone knows. Everyone
knows that.
Already well aware.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. So this example is from The Last Valley, a Michael Caine film in which he played a German mercenary during the 30 Years' War. That
I was trying to identify his accent. I didn't get as far as German.
Good luck.
Yeah.
No, it's not good. He thinks that he's on record as saying he thinks this is his best performance.
Wow.
He thought this film was great and that it got panned by critics and didn't make any money, and he's really disappointed because he thought it deserved to be much wider seen and appreciated. He thought he did a good job.
He was really stretching his acting chops on this one.
Yeah.
We
have actually talked about this film.
You be the judge.
Before,
yeah.
Because this is how I found this example was when I was looking at this film for another fallacy. I can't remember exactly which one it was now, but this scene is kind of, it bleeds into another fallacy. But this
was it the national treasure fallacy? It was the fact that we appoint people that are
that's
thoroughly undeserving of it to the status of national treasure.
Michael Caine is absolutely brilliant. Muppet Christmas Carol gives him a pass on everything else he's ever done.
Yeah, and also Italian Job. Yeah, not the heretical remake.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So, so I found this through finding a clip for a different fallacy, and it was just kind of slightly earlier on in the scene, but it also works. So in this film, he plays the leader of a gang of German mercenaries during the 30 Years' War, and they come across a village which is in a valley and is kind of basically untouched by war. They were barely aware there was a war going on around them, and so they are kind of living a perfectly happy life, and the people fighting the war don't know they're there. It's kind of a hidden valley, and he brings bad things to the village, but he's not prepared to fight on any side that isn't prepared to pay him.
We will join Prince Bernard, help him cross the bridge.
Why join the enemy? You fought for the emperor, you fought a just war.
You dare speak to me of enemies and just war? There is no just war. You know it, everyone knows it.
Yeah, there you go. Everyone knows there's no such thing as a just war.
Yeah.
So his reasoning is a little bit motivated because he's a mercenary. He isn't ideologically on the side of any part of for or against the war. I would say that if you are the oppressed people or the one who aggression is being wrought upon,
meted out on,
fighting against your oppressors could be argued as a just war.
Yeah.
The war itself, the kind of whole war existing, might not be just, but fighting to save your land or to save your people. Yeah. You
on
could
the
say
part
that's
of the one side that isn't the aggressor, yes.
Yeah.
That would be a just war,
His argument comes from the point of view of fighting for money. So
he'll fight on the side of whoever. It doesn't matter
whether it's right or not as such. And his accent is fucking terrible. I mean, to be fair, who knows what German accents were like in the 1600s? Maybe it's exactly like that.
Maybe it was a derivative of Cockney.
One thing he has said in kind of acting masterclasses that he gives, because he teaches other people to act sometimes. He says if you're acting a drunk person, lots of people who try to be drunk, like they act drunk, they are trying to pretend that they're drunk. But drunk people who are, like, in most cases, not in all cases, are trying to act like they're not drunk. So that's what you should be doing is you should be a drunk person trying to act sober. That's what you should be to be a convincing drunk. You should be someone who is trying to pretend to be sober but is actually a bit drunk. And in the same way for this, he says that he didn't want to be someone who was trying to put on a German accent. He wanted to be a German person trying to speak his best English.
Right.
That's what he was trying to do.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
You know, I think Henning Weng would disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
you can
But
see,
again,
you can hear
you know,
there's
the
certain
British
German
accent
kind
has
of
changed a lot over the centuries. Maybe the German one was
possibly
like
the same. Yeah, and they're
Who
all
knows?
probably derived from the similar. There's a lot of German.
There's a lot of crossover.
English.
Yeah. We've
Yeah,
got
yeah,
enormous amounts of Teutonic and all of that stuff.
So there is kind of, you can tell the little clipped bits at the end of the lines, but then in the first line he says the O sound is just proper Markle Kane, isn't it? It's proper Alfie. Yeah, Yep.
So
Is he dead
next.
yet? No, he isn't yet.
No, he's still going. Yeah. I did edit an obituary for him last year just in case.
Okay. Yeah. Which reminded you of the amount of Attack of the Killer Bees. You get, oh no. Yeah.
So now he's had a great career. He's done some really good stuff. You know, Get Carter, the Ipcrest File. There's Alfie,
all of that.
There's lots of good stuff. From
he's
many
certainly,
decades ago.
Yes, exactly. He certainly changed he was part of the swinging Britain scene
absolutely.
when he changed made it possible for people with regional accents to become movie stars. Yeah, but it doesn't. But the last thing he was in, that was it. He was in a thing with Glenda Jackson just before she died, and everybody lauded him as being the best bit of acting ever. And it was just not.
I do see a lot of this is Michael Caine's best role, which is he's not good in. But I mean, they're all wrong because clearly Muppet Christmas Carol is his best role.
Well, yeah,
no one's ever been better than that. So
yes,
you know,
yeah. But he doesn't. I don't know that he carries the thing. He is basically the foil against which all the gags are played.
But that's what it needs to be, because it's easy for a Scrooge character to be the biggest, to take it over. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
He allows the others to shine. So
right. Yeah. But I think it's because he realised that he'd been outclassed by, big chunks of fluffy fur. Yeah. Exactly.
So,
after the holidays, there's so much to clean up and get ready for the coming year. This leaves me exhausted and a lot of things falling off my to-do list. It's time to lock in, and Omaha Steaks delivers everything you crave to reset after the holidays. An order from them means having high-quality Omaha steaks on hand at all times. I'm a big meat lover myself, and I always go with medium rare. But there's also plenty of poultry and other options available. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. A family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality proteins right to your door. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code YUM at checkout. That's OMAHA steaks.com, promo code YUM. Terms apply. See site for details. Go to www.omahasteaks.com to get 50% off site-wide during their end-of-season sale. And use promo code YUM at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply. Thanks to Omaha Steaks for sponsoring us.
Yeah.
Our next fallacy is number 51, argument by rhyme, which is
yes.
when someone uses a thing that rhymes in place of an argument because they believe that it'll be more convincing if it rhymes.
Yeah.
Which is psychologically true. People are more likely to be convinced by a thing, an idiom, if it rhymes than if it doesn't.
Miles a day helps you work, rest and play.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And didn't we have we and when did we do this one? This was pre-COVID or during COVID?
This was 51, so this was kind of early COVID. Yeah.
We must have used Eat Out to Help out, which is,
I don't think that technically. Just they both finish
a
in
rhyme.
Out.
They're both I don't think that same
works.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have a word with
I'm
Chris
not sure
Martin
they got to that point yet, because I think that was the summer of 2020.
Right.
I think
That was definitely an attempt to sway opinion or simplify a complex issue, and I think that's what Chris Martin in Coldplay, early Coldplay, he wouldn't bother with rhyming stuff. He just used the same word.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do feel like Heat Out to Help Out. They kind of. Do you think they rejected some that weren't quite as sexual?
I think.
They thought maybe this will This will get people in to the restaurants.
Yeah. Well, I think it was probably that they first of all came up with, give up for Christ's sake. Let's not do anything.
Just have a nice lie down and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Was their first go.
We fucked this up totally. Please don't draw attention to it. That's that was some of the early ones. But yeah, there is a podcast with Armando Iannucci, which I think is called Strong Message Here. So it's about this kind of a thing in political circles. Yeah, where they do that. And they did have the list. They're way behind. This was only in March or early March, late February. I heard this and I was thinking, well, we were way ahead when I did that conglomeration of all of the slogans throughout.
Yeah.
Face, space, armpits, or whatever the.
I think we did talk about eat out to help out in the argument by slogan.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Because it wasn't actually a
wasn't
rhyme.
And I don't think it happened by that point.
Yeah. And if only ChatGPT existed, we could have got it to produce some terrible rhymes as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so this is from an episode of Superstore.
Oh, yeah.
And this is after they've just had a tornado and they've taken a group photo of all of the employees in front of the store because they've been told that if it's a good one, then they might get the CEO of the company to come and visit the store. And obviously Glenn and Dina are very excited about that because they're corporate shills.
Yeah.
So...
You know what? I just don't feel anything when I look at it. I want to see tornado survivors.
Right. Like on CNN Heroes, you get a sense of the struggle. This doesn't feel like CNN Heroes.
Well, this is a still image, and that's a television show.
You know, I agree with Garrett. We should be doing a TV show.
Not what I said.
Oh my God, I bet none of the other stores are doing a TV show.
It seems excessive.
Oh, excess leads to success.
Well, that rhymes.
When she says, I agree with Garrett, we should be doing a TV show. It's not what I said.
Not what I said.
Yeah. Well, and he just points out and goes, well, it rhymes. That's right. Yeah,
but that's as far as it goes. It rhymes, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
The success is just meaningless otherwise.
Yeah.
But the fact that it rhymes is like the only reason that someone might hear that and go, oh, yeah, that sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Let's be excessive, and then we'll get somewhere.
There's something comforting about that. I was listening to somebody talking about why modernist music, well, I say modernist, 1920s, 1917, all that kind of atonal music. The reason why it was difficult and challenging is because it didn't do what you expected it to do. And the whole thing about music is it goes where you expect it to next. And the thing and that makes it comfortable and accessible and absorbable. And the thing about a rhyming thing is that it
feels familiar.
It feels familiar, and it kind of goes where you want it to, and then gives you the little bit of closure in a very comforting way. Which is, why you got part. Yeah, take note, Chris Martin. This is why you need to do rhymes. It's not enough to just rhyme out without. You've got to, or away with away. You've got, or boat with boat. He does that a lot. You've got to come up with another rhyme because we're all expecting. We know how it works. We expect a rhyme, and then we want a nice little thing where it will twist back on itself.
And the thing is, there's a Tim Minchin song, actually it's a 10-minute beat poem called Storm, where he rhymes frighten you with frighten you, and it sticks out like a sore thumb because normally his lyrics are so incredibly intricately thought out and brilliantly rhyming that when he does it once in his entire oeuvre, you're like, no, Tim, come on,
you could have done better than that.
You phoned that one in.
Yeah. Well, that's the joy. I don't know that a podcast goes by without we mention Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. But there's, that's the joy of that song is how many rhymes he gets for Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And meaningfully being able to tell a little narrative. Yeah. I listened to there was a show on late night comedy show with Tim Key and Mark Watson, and Tim Minchin was doing the music. So it was a long time ago because they talked about. I don't think they talked about MySpace with irony. I think they were genuinely talking about MySpace, and he kept putting these little stings in between the bits where they said so we can't use final thought. So it must have been contemporary with Jerry Springer. Can't use final thought. So they had valedictory remarks, and then he came out with this thing that was just about valedictory remarks repeated. You kind of against the rhythm, and then he said, "Right, everybody," and then the audience had to join in. It was excellent. And you think, "Oh yeah, he was good." Yeah.
So our next fallacy is our second one that we made up, Accelerating Truth, episode 56.
Yeah,
and this is when someone makes a claim, doesn't offer any evidence for it, and then makes a second claim that is based purely on the first claim they made being true, basically. So their prior assertion is the evidence they offer for their secondary claim, really.
Yeah.
So this comes from 2023. It's a series of tweets, and there was a news story. Tim Waltz basically signed a law guaranteeing free breakfast and lunch for all students in Minnesota, regardless of how much their parents make. So it basically took away the stigma of kids who got a free lunch being thought of as the poor kids. It's a real serious problem in school. Kids judge each other. Kids are arseholes. And so a kid choosing to take advantage of their free food singles them out as someone to be picked on as a poor kid. And basically it would help also people who are kind of just on the line of being allowed to access that free food but actually don't have very much money at all. So it helped lots of kids, and they posted a little video of him signing this law, and then he kind of goes to fist bump some of the kids, and the kids just spontaneously start hugging him, and it's just really cute. So a lady called Martha Bueno, whose Twitter handle was Bueno for Miami, replied to this.
Turns out she isn't. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You'd think that she maybe is some kind of elected official, but no.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so she said, most of you don't go through your local government budgets, and it shows. Government wastes $1 for every dollar they spend. They're a bad middleman. Giving them more isn't the solution. So, no evidence for that claim.
No.
Someone replied to her to say, don't feed poor kids? Which is a reasonable response, I think, to that. Because that is basically seems to be what she's saying. This is a bad bill and it shouldn't be a thing, even though it helps kids. She replied to say, this bill is 100%. This bill is for 100% of the kids, not just poor, but middle class, upper middle class, rich, mega rich, etc. Then she says, I bet someone lobbied and got this passed to benefit some mega cereal company or something. Why you shill for them is mind-blowing.
Wow.
So she's just completely randomly asserted that this bill, which helps children, whether they are poor or rich, so accidentally helping some rich kids by helping poor kids is a bad thing. But she's saying that the only reason it exists is because some mega cereal company lobbied for it.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
And therefore,
and the person
that
that's
having
saying...
been asserted...
Yeah. The person
anyone
who's
saying it's a good thing
is
shilling
for the cereal
for
company.
The cereal companies.
That she's just made up. Brilliant. Yeah. See, because the Republicans are all about stigmatizing people. So any effort
you should be able to spot the poor
away.
Kids and bully them.
Yeah,
and this also because it even if they were in favour of benefiting the poor kids, which they're not, but the fact that this comes at the expense of possibly also feeding some kids who aren't on the breadline, makes it a bad thing.
Yeah, you would kind of think, but they would. But they're not prepared to get the rich people to pay for it because they're Republicans. So what they are actually saying is it's bad that we're feeding rich kids. so therefore we
Yeah,
ought not
feed
to do
kids.
that.
Just
so
feed
we'll
all
just
kids.
feed them. Yeah,
Kids,
just feed the
like-
kids. Yeah.
Why are you trying to take food away from children? Martha Bueno for Miami.
Martha Bueno, no bueno. Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, with a name like
Basically-
that, she's obviously been lobbied by one of those chocolate-covered biscuit
big
kind
Kinder
of bars.
Yeah.
big Kinder.
It's,
Big Kinder. Yeah.
It's bizarre that they are so anti-helping children, given how pro-life they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely established that kids who have eaten reasonable meals, who are not hungry, do better in school.
Yeah.
Their outcomes are better, their behaviour is better, they get in, less trouble and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
They
feed the
concentrate
fucking
more.
kids,
Exactly.
and then education overall will be better in your state. And it's a win-win, and it's one of the cheapest ways of increasing educational outcomes.
Yeah.
Because other things cost quite a lot of money. Like special educational needs teachers and textbooks and all that kind of stuff. It costs a lot more than fucking eggs.
Breakfast, yeah.
I mean, no, maybe not eggs. Eggs is a bad example this year.
They have gone down by 80%.
Yeah.
But
beans,
the thing,
other stuff you feed kids at school.
Yeah.
Salisbury steak, like, out of a can.
Yeah.
Well,
cereal. Yeah.
Lumpy mashed potato.
From Big Kinder. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the thing is, it's about giving free breakfast free breakfast and lunch to kids who haven't got lunch or had breakfast.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you're rich, you still might have not had breakfast.
And some of those kids who are benefiting from the free lunch or whatever, they aren't necessarily going to get food when they get home. For some kids, the food they get at school is the food they get.
Yeah.
Because, their parents are working 3 jobs, or there just isn't enough food in the house, or for everyone, and they get a minimal evening meal, if at all. So, it absolutely it's not a hard thing to decide whether feeding children is a good or a bad thing. But Martha gets it drastically wrong. She's not, incidentally, in case you were wondering, a Miami elected official.
No.
She still goes by Bueno for Miami, suggesting that she is. And in fact, one of her, I think it might be her Instagram, says that she's the only, I think she says the only elected official, but I think she means like person who was running for office who's campaigned on OnlyFans, which I'm not sure is a plus. Anyway,
well, how do you it's a bit distracting.
Yeah,
I would have thought.
yeah.
Wonder whether people kind of got the campaign message necessarily. Yeah.
Probably not, because she's run in one election in 2022 for Miami-Dade County Commissioner in District 10.
Right.
A very local race in which she got 21% of the vote. So,
right.
And did not win.
Well, that's all you need if you're an influencer.
But that means she's feels that she can now ride the kind of the wave of her having been involved in an election of some kind.
Yeah.
To lecture other people about
government spending,
their experience of local government, because obviously they don't know what they're talking about, and she does, because she once did
ran
quite
for
poorly
office.
in a very local race.
Yeah, didn't manage to get into office. Yeah. Yes, by nor had a very successul OnlyFans channel by the sound
Apparently
of it.
not,
If she only
no,
garnered
'cause-
21% of the vote, surely
Yeah.
50% of the voters are male.
You would think.
Yeah.
But no, she could only get about 6,000 people to vote for her in that county, so...
Yeah.
Didn't do it. So our next example is actually a Brit poll example.
Yay!
Because it involves Keir Starmer.
Lovely.
And
thank you very much for finding that.
Yeah.
It's very young Keir Starmer too.
A very young Keir Starmer, yeah. So this is about a video that was tweeted of Keir Starmer talking to Channel 5 News.
Yeah.
About how, because he was director of public prosecutions at the time, and they had just announced some changes in guidelines on how the police and prosecutors would deal with victims of sexual abuse, child victims particularly.
Yeah.
But generally victims of sexual abuse. And so the right wing tweeted a selectively edited clip from this video to make a point that he was looking at the wrong things. So anonymous Twitter account called njamesworld tweeted this clip, and it was retweeted by Nadine Dorries, who was health minister at the time.
Of course.
Conservative MPs Lucy Allen and Maria Caulfield. With kind of thing. Nadine Dorries retweeted it with the word revealing and things like that. And so they were suggesting that this says something about Keir Starmer. And the name of the video, as tweeted, was Keir Starmer explains why he didn't prosecute grooming gangs when he was head of the Crown Prosecution Service.
Yeah.
Which isn't what he's doing in this interview.
Yep.
So here's the clip that
they say tells us. Yeah.
The assumptions that were made included the assumption that a victim of child sexual abuse will swiftly report what's happened to them to the police, will be able to give a coherent and consistent account first time, that they will not themselves have engaged in any offending or other behaviour, and that they will not have misused drugs or alcohol at any stage.
So that was the out of context clip, and I should mention, because I haven't actually said what fallacy we're talking about, I just mentioned that this is our next example is Britpol. So this is episode 60, Contextomy, because Contextomy fallacy is basically taking things out of context. It's another name for quote mining.
Right.
And it's,
yes,
and
that's
it's doing
right.
it in such a way that changes the meaning of what those people are actually saying to support the argument you're making. So the argument that was being made by N. James World and by proxy by the Conservative MPs who retweeted this video is that Starmer has a backwards view of how you should treat the victims of sexual assault, and therefore how to prosecute the offenders.
Because there are these assumptions when he was in charge of the Crown Prosecution Service that they made these assumptions that the kids would report the abuse straight away, that they had been in trouble, and that they had used drugs and alcohol.
Exactly.
But of course the context isn't.
So
that's
the full. I'll play the full clip, and it includes a question from the journalist, which leads to him saying what he said. So I'll play that. This bit includes the bit we've just heard, because there's a section they got rid of from the beginning and also from after he said that thing.
Which is the context.
These guidelines are a recognition that the approach that's been taken in the past was the wrong approach. It was based on a number of assumptions which don't withstand scrutiny. The guidelines change that, and they require the police and prosecutors to focus intensely on the allegation actually being made, and not so much on the weaknesses or vulnerabilities that are invariably there in some of the victims that come forward.
Could you just expand a little on what you mean by the kind of things that were going wrong? Just give us some kind of obvious examples of how the previous guidelines weren't really up to standard.
The assumptions that were made included the assumption that a victim of child sexual abuse will swiftly report what's happened to them to the police, will be able to give a coherent and consistent account first time, that they will not themselves have engaged in any offending or other behaviour, and that they will not have misused drugs or alcohol at any stage. Those assumptions do not withstand scrutiny. They've got to change. The guidelines make that clear, and so this is a clear break with the past.
So he's very specifically
he
saying
says it was
all
wrong.
of those assumptions were wrong.
Yeah.
And the answer that he gives that people tweeted out as if it was his views on how this should be done was in answer to the specific question. Give us some examples of what was wrong about the guidelines that you're changing.
Yes. We changed those. Yes, this is our approach was to change all of those things, and that's what we've done. Yeah, these were wrong. We've changed and the new guidelines do away with that, so it focuses not on the behaviour of the victims, but the allegations that the victims are making.
Yeah. which obviously is the right change to make.
Yes.
And that was the changes he brought in as Director of Public Prosecutions. And then they used an out-of-context clip to suggest that what he was doing, the changes... No, they weren't even talking about the changes he was making. They were just saying this is why he didn't prosecute grooming gangs.
Yeah.
Which is giving it a false context, not even just taking it out of context. It's removing the bits that make it clear what's going on and then pretending he's talking about something else by giving it a false title. So, yeah, it's mad. And obviously, to be fair to Nadine Dorries, etc.,
no need to be.
I'm going to try. They weren't the ones who clipped it.
Right.
So they
they
saw it and thought,
and the red mist descended, and they went, yes, there you go, yes.
They didn't check it before they retweeted it, and you could make an argument that is the responsibility of people to make sure that they're not retweeting misinformation. I think that's a reasonable argument to make.
Yeah.
And
particularly people who are in
power, especially. I think people who want to be responsible purveyors of information. I think it's reasonable to expect that. I don't think it's reasonable to expect it will always happen, but when you retweet something without having looked into it more, it's a risk you're taking. If it turns out that has been incorrect after the fact, then you have the opportunity to delete that tweet or give context after to say, I put this out there, it was wrong, I've discovered since, and it was out of context, and I'm sorry I did that, I should be more careful in future, that kind of thing. Needless to say, none of them did that.
No. Well, there was thousands of people just kind of pointed out that actually, this is completely out of context.
Yes.
So
they had
Nadine Dorries got rid of it. Yeah. But then, who was the other? There was Lucy Allen.
She deleted it, but without any other context.
Yeah, and Lucy Allen, the Conservative MP for Telford, who's got voted out in the last election, she deleted the post, but then wrote, there was a total failure by the authorities to understand child sexual exploitation, grooming, and a dismissive attitude toward victims, and a belief that victims brought it on themselves, failing to say... And this is the thing that Keir Starmer has put a stop to.
Yes.
She's
absolutely.
just kind of chosen the words to say, there was a failure by authority. Yes, there was a failure by authority.
In the past.
And that's what Keir Starmer changed by doing this. We ought to applaud his efforts.
Absolutely. It would be responsible
I'm sorry to
in
have
that
misrepresented him.
To say something like, I don't agree with Keir Starmer on much, but... He's addressing these problems.
He saw the failure
forward,
and
step in the right direction.
Yeah. But because
that doesn't feed into what
she belonged to the party that at the time and still does places personal success and I'm reaching for the word integrity, but they don't have any. They want to be seen to be powerful members of the government holding other people to account, and they want to be the people that remain in power by appealing to a lot of people that will vote them in.
Yeah.
Nadine Dorries, looking at you, Boris Johnson, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, that same thing happened today. I was watching a thing where Robert Jenrick was being brought to account by the same guy that we're going to hear from later on LBC, by saying that. So Robert Jenrick had said something that, yes, all of this bad doing that's going on ought not to be happening. It illustrates how the lower orders of society are rule breakers and unruly and lawless. And then he points out, he said, but like when you were in power, you were found to have done a backhander to your mate over a housing development. And he says, I don't think we should be bringing up the past.
Don't add context that makes me look bad.
Exactly. and then the guy said, okay, so you don't think that as leaders in power, like you and Boris Johnson, and did he mention Nadine Dorries? But certainly Boris Johnson and you, if you behave like this and break the rules, do you not think that people further down who aren't in power, who are in the receipt of rulings from you in power, would not think, well, why should I obey the rules?
Yeah.
And he just kind of went, and that's the thing about this Tory government at that time were all about, let's make them look bad and it will make us look good, because what we're doing needs to be distracted from, because what we're doing is lawless, breaking the rules, self-serving and self-aggrandizing, and is purely in the pursuit of power.
Yeah.
So we need to distract from that by taking Keir Starmer out of context and then not apologising for having done so.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they're not in power anymore.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I think that the last one we'll do for this episode, although we will come back and do more of these, because we've only managed to get up to episode 65, the argument from consequences, which is our next one. But yeah, there's plenty more to talk about, so we'll do another one of these. But the last one is argument from consequences, which is when someone makes a claim based on what would be true if the claim was false. So, or true for that matter. Basically, it's not providing evidence for the claim. It's saying, if I'm wrong, then this would happen, and that would be a bad outcome. Therefore, I must be
those
right.
are terrible. Yeah. So therefore,
and if I'm right, we
wrong.
get good outcomes. Therefore, I must be right.
It can only be right because of the goodness of the outcomes. Yes.
Yeah. So this example is from Monk, or more accurately, it's from Mr. Monk's Last Case, which is the revival TV movie from Monk, which they did a few years after the series ended. Yeah. And in this, Leland, the police inspector, I guess, what's his rank? I don't know. During the series, he's retired from the police force. He is working private security for a billionaire, basically.
Yeah.
Who as it turns out, is the suspect in the case that Monk is investigating.
Right.
And so he's kind of working with Monk, but really doesn't want his boss to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
because then he's out of a job.
Yeah.
He's not the guy. He can't be the guy.
Why not?
Because I love my job. That's why not. I've worked my whole life for this. See this watch? It's a $20,000 watch. He gave it to me. I'm flying on private jets. I'm farting through silk. Wait, you're what? Never mind it. Well, I'm late for work. I gotta go. He's not the guy.
That is brilliant. $20,000 watch, private jets, silk boxes. Yeah. That's it.
So
it can't be like, because look at all these good things I've got.
Yeah.
These things that are great for me. He can't be the guy, because if he is the guy, this will come to an end. So therefore, he can't be the guy.
So therefore, whereas Leland would normally be supporting Monk's assessment of the case, because he's usually right.
Yeah.
In this case, what he's doing is questioning his judgment and saying, we're all getting on, you've probably missed something, or you're losing it, or, all of that stuff. He's trying to figure out any way that his boss cannot be guilty, because that's the motivated reasoning.
Yeah.
That means that he doesn't lose his job.
Yeah. So it's quite a nice twist on the old back you to the hilt Monk case. That's quite nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Pity the acting is atrocious, but we'll gloss over that, because it's a.
I think it's perfectly good.
It's kind of all right until at the moment when he just jabs a finger at him and said, "I'm going to lose my." He's not the guy. You think, up to that point, I'm kind of all right, and then just lost it. Yeah, in those moments when the acting, you're suddenly aware there's acting happening, and you think, and if you're suddenly aware there's acting happening, Michael Caine looking at you, then you think, oh no, it's got in the way.
The acting in Monk was always a little broad.
Right.
Tony Shalhoub is doing specific things with his character.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other supporting characters have always been they're a bit basically because it's kind of Sherlock Holmesian.
Yeah.
His carer.
Yeah.
It switches between a couple over the course of the series is essentially his Watson, and then there's Leland playing Lestrange essentially, and Randy is Lestrade. Yes, that's right. And Randy is playing Lestrade's second in command, and so on. So essentially, they're the doofuses. Those characters that are just an avatar for bouncing ideas off, and so they're always kind of basically comedy characters. The way that Tony Shalhoub's Monk is serious, but his OCD is played up for laughs in a slightly uncomfortable way. It's all right. I don't mind it at all.
There's a series on the radio that I've been listening to, which is kind of their Watsons. No, they're from the point of view of Lestrade, who is supporting the investigations by other of his the people that he worked with. So not just Holmes. There's a whole series of other thing which I think they're called Lestrade's Casebook or something like that. And he still plays the absolute doofus, but they're kind of. Well, I don't know that they're up to date. I think they're set in the 50s, or they go. He's worked. He seems to have worked at Scotland Yard since the 1860s.
That's Victorian,
he's still doing it, and he's kind of. And so it's quite because basically it's just their Sherlock Holmes detective stories, but with a Marple type character, and then a sort of Paul Temple kind of character.
Yeah.
So it's all
the Elementary series did it very well because they had Lestrade. I think I'm right in saying the main police guy was Gregson, who is another regular policeman in the Holmes stories.
Yeah.
And Lestrade was a British detective who he previously worked with in Scotland Yard, who was in a few episodes.
Right. Yeah.
And came over and was a kind of foil in that section. So they did it quite well. But I quite like various Sherlock Holmes kind of proxies and adaptations.
It's good to put it. And this is quite good because we'll talk about the Holmesian fallacy later on.
We will on a future one of these.
Yeah.
But for now, that's about all we have time for. So
I hope you enjoyed that. It's been quite nice actually revisiting them
looking back on it over old times.
Yeah, and not least those heady days when in the middle of COVID when we had other incompetent Trump administrations. God, glad those days are gone. What's that? That's never going to happen again. God. But and also to kind of be not solely concentrating on more Trump examples. That's always a good.
Yeah, the fallacy
of mental health
are always a bit more fun.
Yeah, and actually it makes us realise that actually the use of them is a very effective comedic foil. It turns up a lot in comedic
does come
examples.
Up a lot in comedy.
Yeah, because people know that something's going on, which has got the same kind of structure as a joke.
We've got a couple of Simpsons examples coming up in the future.
Clashing together of
using
things
it for comedy purposes. So join us next time. And in the meantime, there'll be a Fallacious Trump episode, obviously. So we will see you then.
See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.